We are live. Hi, Douglas. I think we're live. We are live. Yes, we are. Perfect. Okay. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. We just kicked off day one of my 5-day workshop, and it was amazing. And I know you're going to watch the replay because you just woke up and you're in LA, and 3 hours. We're behind, but not really behind. You're just
3 hours later is like the way I put it. Not behind, just later.
no, you just get 3 extra hours.
Yeah, pretty
Get
much.
hours. Yeah. So I really appreciate you hanging out with us today. And we're just going to talk a little bit about your journey working with me and working with the Thinking the Results program. So, first of all, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are because you've got some really exciting things coming up.
Gladly, yeah, I am excited. And I have even news for you and everybody watching too, even more news since last time I spoke with you.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so my name is Doug Weissman. I live in Los Angeles and I am a travel writer and a novelist. I do most writing things. I also write screenplays. I also do content strategy. And I have a book coming out in November. It's my first adult fiction novel. And then I just got the exciting news is that I spoke with a different publisher on Friday of last week, and they're gonna pick up my new latest different book that I wrote, and that's I'm getting the contract for that sometime this week.
Wow, congratulations. That is amazing.
Thank you.
That's exciting. Yeah, because I mean, this has, been a journey of persistence for you, right? Like so many artists and, people that are following their passion. So tell me more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like that you say persistence because I like to tell people that ask me how I started writing or how I'm getting a book published and all these things. Uh, I went to grad school, I went to writing school, and I was not the best writer in the school, but I am one of the few who persisted. I kept going. And then when I worked with you, when I started working with you, you were able to find those points that I was either skipping or avoiding. And those were points that were necessary for me to really reach the point where I am now and then push through those things that I was afraid of, like publishing my website or reaching out, circumventing the agents who weren't connecting with my book and reaching publishers directly in order to get my books out there. And because of that, I have a website. I'm pushing through on social media and I'm doing these things that I was too afraid to do because it made me vulnerable in the past, but are necessary to build a platform, to get my name out there, to market myself, and to get my books in the hands of readers.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it because yeah, it's so interesting how like there are so many people that give up on their dreams, right? And you just kind of nailed it. They just, they have, they're really talented or really passionate about what they do. And they just don't see it through. So it sounds like you figured that out.
I'd like to think so. I hope I did. I mean, it's one of the things that I had heard in the past that really brought me to you is this idea of athletes use a coach to train. So why wouldn't you if you want to do something more professionally and grow? And that was something that I connected with you about and with. And it never occurred to me to give up on my dream, but if I had worked with you sooner, I could certainly see how I would have gotten there quicker.
Ah, nice. I love that. Yeah. I mean, we all need support, right? I have a coach. I have several coaches. So, we all need to, just have that objective perspective to hold up the mirror and show us what we need to see and to help us go deeper to create the kind of awareness that we need to shift. So, yeah. So tell me more about that. Like I love that athletes have a coach. So why not me? So how did you go about finding your coach and what led you to me?
Yeah, absolutely. I had done a few preliminary searches on Google, and there was this website. I don't remember what the website was originally that was trying to do an app-based coaching service, but it was really impersonal and it didn't really give you the attention that I felt I needed. And although I'm not saying the coaches were bad or good in one way or another, I didn't really spend enough time on it to learn. What I did feel was I wasn't getting the attention that I needed, and they weren't giving me the focus that I needed in order to really understand what my goals were. And then I found you through another Google search, and you were the second coach that I'd spoken with, and the first one that I'd spoken with over the phone. And I just connected with you, your message, the way that you went about things, and you really listened to me. I felt heard. I felt like you understood both what I wanted to do and at the same time understood that kind of confusion around what I was trying to get to. And so you were able to help me cut through that kind of clouded area and the fuzziness of, yes, set the goal. And then if I set the goal, I have to take the steps to reach the goal, as opposed to just thinking if I set the goal, then I'm done. Whereas it's not that simple. Although it's simple to set the goal, then you just take the next step, do the next thing and the next thing. And you helped me understand that if I take the next step and then the next step, I will reach that goal and also celebrate the little milestones or victories that I've had along the way, rather than feeling dejected or feel like giving up because I still feel so far away from that big goal.
Mm. And you know what I was just thinking about is like your journey has been kind of interesting. Like we started out doing one-to-one coaching. And then as we were, getting into the work, I recommended that you do the Thinking to Results program, and you started doing that. So it's kind of just been, you've been, sort of leveling up throughout even our journey of working together, right? Starting with the one-on-one, adding in the Thinking to Results material, and then going, then taking the next step to go into the group. So maybe you could tell people a little bit about the differences, because you've had the opportunity to kind of do all three, so that's been kind of neat, compared to some others who haven't.
No, absolutely. And for me, it worked well. One of the issues I've had and I've struggled with is that I always think I can do things on my own. And so if things aren't moving fast enough, or if things aren't happening in a particular way, I will just be like, well, I can do it on my own. And to a degree, that's great, but that can maybe get me, say, 90% of the way. But I still need that encouragement, that support, and to really understand where I am and that it's okay to be where I am and to grow from there. And I don't get that when I'm on my own. And so when I started working with you, it kind of got me to that starting point. But then I also noticed that we would meet every couple of weeks and I'd be really energized and I'd be going after it for maybe that first week. And then I'd sink wondering, or maybe not even wondering, but being so impatient about me doing all this work and then not seeing the results immediately. But it doesn't always work that way. And then I'd sink back and then talk to you again. And it wouldn't even be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It would be 1 step forward, 1 step back. So I'd be right at the starting point. And then when I started doing Thinking into Results, I came away with so much more inspiration and so much more understanding of what I kept running up against. And a lot of it had to do with the terror barrier. A lot of it had to do with my paradigm and not really confronting those things. And so then breaking through and taking that next step and confronting these things over and over again, as opposed to just sinking back down, allowed me to grow even further. And then by joining the group, I was able to see that, oh, it's normal for these feelings to take hold. And it's normal to have to break through them again. And it's normal and even encouraged to share and be vulnerable in those moments from which you can grow, as opposed to hide from them, sink away, and then all of a sudden you have to start back from the original point. And so through that, I've felt like I know I've been making leaps and bounds and growing from those 3 different stations that I've been working with you in, and also those personal areas that I've been needing to, and now am developing.
Yeah, that's so cool. And there's like, there's so much, it's also so much easier sometimes to see when we're, sharing in a group and you can see it in someone else. And then, someone else is sharing their experience or one of the challenges that they're going through. But it's almost like a mirroring effect in the sense that, there's several people in the group that can relate to that one person. So everybody really benefits, right? And I think sometimes it's easier to see it outside of ourselves. And then that also helps us create more awareness. So, so again, like, I guess what I'd be curious to know is what are the differences between working with me like in a one-on-one session versus working in the group program?
Absolutely. I think one of the great things about working with you in a one-on-one session was the individuality of it and the focus of it, which was wonderful. And again, it worked towards my specific goals, and it worked towards my specific paradigms or the things that I needed to overcome. But at the same time, again, one of the downfalls was that I only met with you a certain amount of times, and that I needed more than that. And I also needed more of a support. I realized I needed more support than just a couple times a week. And by doing it with a group, not only do we meet more often, but like you said, there's a mirroring effect. So in those moments where I do feel discouraged, or I do feel like maybe I've plateaued, I see that when others talk about the journey they're going through or that they've been on and ways they've overcome, I can see myself in those moments, and then I can overcome it, or I can share, and other people have that supportive attitude where maybe they're there right now, maybe they've been there in the past. So even if I'm not hearing the story within the group, they're there to help boost me up and get me through, over, under, however I have to, those barriers that are keeping me from getting what I want or what I know that I need to do to get where I want to be.
I love that. And that just makes me think about, like, what's it like to be in a group? Because this is something I'm sure a lot of people think about is, being in a group and being vulnerable with people that you don't know. And, I think that I could see that being an obstacle or a fear for others. What was it like coming into the group, and what was your experience like with this group?
Yeah, that's the fear that you just mentioned is exactly what I was hitting up against as well. I mean, I understand vulnerability and I want to be vulnerable whenever necessary, but at the same time, it is scary to be vulnerable with people you don't know. But I leaned into it. And at first I was a little resident. Everybody is so lovely and they're so caring and they're so supportive, and they're all going through they're all in there for the same reason. And that's one of the things that really encouraged me to open up, is we're all there to better ourselves. We're all there to grow, and we're all there to support one another in whatever our journeys are. And that's what helped me open up, because it's not just going in there and saying, well, I've done this, this, and this, I'm so cool, look at me. It's about going and saying, it's not just about what I've done, it's also about where I want to go. And it's a hard process to break through whatever's keeping me here at the plateau or making me feel like I'm dragging back. And by sharing those things, whether it's the paradigm, whether it's the fear, sharing those things helps me overcome it. And then in being such a supportive environment, it really gets me there faster and better, as opposed to if I was trying to do it on my own.
I love it. It's so true. Like, you feel so supported. And sometimes that's one of the biggest challenges that people have when they're trying to do this work alone, is they don't have that support. And sometimes even people around them just can't understand it. Right. And here everybody's speaking the same language. They may not have the exact same goals, but they all are, in there for more growth and expansion. And they're willing, they're willing to do the deeper work, to achieve the goal. Right. So I think that's where everybody just can, kind of get on the same vibration together and lift each other up. And we get to celebrate the wins, which is the fun part too.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I think that's part of it. Having that supportive group that's there to help lift you up, but also celebrate when the wins come, no matter how small or how big they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Awesome. So what do you want to, what do you want to say to anybody who's thinking about doing this program? What would you want to tell them?
I want to tell them to just do it. That's the only way to really reach your goals, is just overcoming that fear of possibility and probability and just doing it. That's the only way. And I learned that with working with you. I learned that from writing. It's not going to get done unless you take action to do it. So you have to stop kind of hovering over the mouse saying, will I, won't I, and just go for it.
So it's really about making a committed decision to go for it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, always.
Make a committed decision and then do whatever it takes to get the support that you need to make it happen.
And as you would say, take inspired action.
Yes. Yeah. That's, taking the inspired action to get the support is inspired action, right? So Anything else? Anything else you want to share about your experience? I mean, we're really excited for you. We can't wait to come to your first, like, we're really like, going bigger here. I'm thinking about screenplays. I'm thinking about, premieres.
And so am I, actually. So I'm glad we're on the same page because
Yeah.
that's where I'm building up to. And I even had with the book that I'm getting the contract for this week. I mean, I was talking to the publisher and talking about rights and royalties and things, partly because I know that this book is going to be big both as a book and a big with streaming services or with film, limited series, because it's that compelling. It's incredibly immersive and engaging. And it's just understanding that these are the steps that I am taking to get to that point are what's coming next.
Awesome. Well, we are rooting for you, and can't wait to read your first book when it comes out in November. You'll have to share it with us all here and let us know about it. And I really appreciate you being here today and just sharing your experience. And I'm just so thrilled that everything is going in the direction that you want. So, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and I'm thrilled that I was able to be with you and that I'm working with you in the group. It's all been wonderful, and every day is more encouraging than the last.
Just keeps getting better and better, right?
Every day.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Douglas.
It was my pleasure.
All righty. Bye.